This online exclusive content is brought to you as always by Paul Martin Menswear. What's happening now, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dee Curran, and today we are going to rewind back to 1997 to remember the inaugural Irish International Club Soccer Tournament. This two-day tournament held in July 15th and 16th was the first pre-season tournament of its kind hosted on Irish soil. The FA and the tournament partners Matchmaker Promotions Limited had promised Irish football fans unbeatable value for money across the 2 days, with the prospect of seeing some of Europe's established and rising stars. Featuring clubs like Newcastle United, PSV Eindhoven and Glasgow Celtic, Derry City would qualify as the league winners, and they're expected to lose to the fan favourites Glasgow Celtic. But that would not be the case. I hope you're sitting down comfortably, because we are going to revisit this tournament with the star player for Derry City in the Glasgow Celtic clash. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get Derry Nostalgic with Gary Beckett. Gary, over the course of your career, especially with Derry City, you've played against the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG, Gothenburg and Celtic, but where does the Celtic game rank and how often you speak about a particular match?
Well, obviously earlier on in the Derry City career, you would have spoke a wee bit more about it, but the fact that Barcelona came to town and Celtic came to town again, Man United came to town, the PSG game for the try and qualify for the league stages of the Europa League, it kind of took a back seat, but at that time it was massive. It was for us to, if we were to qualify for that wee tournament, we had to win the league. But I don't remember ever thinking, I've got to win the league here to play this tournament. It was just to win the league, and that was it. And the 14 tournament was a bonus.
Because of all the hype leading up to the tournament, it was all about Newcastle and Celtic. Did you feel like you were going there as a placeholder?
I didn't kind of think that. I felt we were going there to enjoy it, to experience to play teams that were full-time, as 1987, 98, we weren't. We were far from. We were twice, 3 times a week, and maybe 4 and 5 in pre-season. Like these boys were top-notch players, and it was just going to be something that we could get excited about.
Did Felix say these before the tournament or even before the game, right, lads, we're taking this seriously?
I think that side, we just won the league by 10 points. That side took everything seriously. It was just in the nature. You can't go on a pitch the likes of Paul Hegarty, Liam Coyle, Peter Hutton, Gavin Dykes, and so on, and relax yourself in any game, in any pre-season game. It was just a bonus that it was Celtic, and the fact that it was Celtic, there was a lot of effort put into to try and get a result. Yeah.
On the day of the game, he's played in front of 18,000 in attendance. Was it the biggest crowd at that stage of your career that you had played in front of?
Would that have been the biggest crowd? Yes, probably would have been the biggest crowd then. But now you've hung me out dry. I was telling everybody it was 30,000 at that. So can we go back and put 30,000?
Do you remember the atmosphere that day, what it was like to walk out through the tunnel?
I say it's 27 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was 22, 23. Not really. Kind of like there was a buzz. There was definitely a buzz. We were playing Celtic, and the talk about it was, if we did manage, which was going to be unexpected, to qualify, who would you want? All the boys wanted Newcastle. I, for some strange reason, wanted PSV. I don't know why, but that was my thing. No, you stupid. You want to play Newcastle? And I said, no, something about PSV that I want to play and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But there was definitely a tension. We knew what we were coming into. We knew we could end up on the wrong side of a score, and we were determined not to let that happen.
To be honest with you, having watched over the game, for a friendly, it's not that friendly, Gary. There's dirty challenges flying in left, right, and centre. Paul Curran at one stage should have been shown a straight red. Was this Celtic coming in and hitting you that hard and you retaliated, or was this just the mentality of both sides? We're just in here to battle?
Tom was actually spat on by one of the players, and that was probably, you'd swear he buried his mother and father or something after the game. He was so disappointed because he was a massive Celtic fan. I'm not too sure who did it. It's in the back of my mind who did do it. I don't want to say it and then it wasn't him. But Tom, he didn't sleep that night after that happened, because they were his heroes. And for someone to do that was very, very annoying to him, Yeah, I think it was the mentality of both sides. We did not want to be wiped off the floor, which we were expected to be, let's be honest about it. We were there to play 3rd and 4th place playoff, and we threw a spanner in the works. The fact that we started and played so well, I think we made a shock Celtic.
Mm-hmm.
I think we probably annoyed a lot of Celtic fans too, because at the end of the day, that was the team that beat Rangers to the 10 in a row. At that stage, with Wim Janssen's team, it didn't look like it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I remember coming round the pitch to come and watch the Newcastle game a wee bit after. You had to come out and walk around the side. We were getting a few applause from the kind of Newcastle PSV ones, but the Celtic ones, they weren't applauding. I heard every name mentioned once or twice, and it wasn't the nicest. I was kind of going, my God, have we done something wrong here?
But in the build-up to that game and that season, there was a lot of upheaval at Celtic with, the structure of, they're bringing in a director of football. Tommy Burns had just left the club. Van Hooijdonk had transferred out. Cadetti was complaining that he was suffering with mental issues and wasn't coming back. And then Canio leaves as well. Were you aware of all those issues that was going on at the time?
Well, Tom Owen was my roommate, and he's a massive Celtic fan. We would have known a bit, but we didn't really read into it that much. You know what I mean? You're playing Celtic. You're going to have a game. You're going to be tired. You're going to be worked hard. Everything that you expect of Celtic, we got that day and just came out in the right score of it.
The top you wore that year was this O'Neill's one.
That's right. That was a new jersey. Yeah.
What did you think of that jersey at the time?
I liked it. I liked all the candy stripe jerseys that I've wore over the years. Like, I've wore 13 years worth. So never really. We had a blue one, I think, of that, hadn't we?
Mm-hmm. Blue and white one.
It was like an Argentina one.
Mm-hmm.
That was as nice as well. But no, anytime I get a chance to put that jersey on, I'll never complain. Definitely
that shirt there is a size 13 to 14 aged, and it only fits me now. It was that baggy.
True enough. I think I seen the picture. There is a picture on that paper with me with the arms out wide, and you can see the things going down the near me shorts. They were big. I liked it. I liked all the Derry kids to say it.
On a sidebar, what was your favourite Derry shirt?
The one we won the league with. I also have it framed as well.
Lovely. Well, 7 minutes into the game, you get Derry City 1-0 up. What do you remember about the goal?
I remember trying to stay onside, kind of leaning backwards or forwards, whatever way you want to. I seen the line, I thought it was on, and Liam played me in. And I remember the keeper coming out quite quickly. So I says, right, I'm going to just dink this, and dinked it over his head from about 10 yards, and just went, oh, this is what I did. And went kind of crazy then a wee bit, just celebrate it the way you do celebrate it when you score against a big team like Celtic.
30 minutes later, Canio scores what turns out to be his last goal for Celtic in the 37th minute. They take it in, they won each. Did you have any interactions or remember anything about Paolo Canio on that day?
I went to closing down one time, and I went, right, be ready. And he just stood looking at me with the ball. He never looked at the ball. He just kept looking at me as if to say, come and try and take it. So I just let him have it for that case. And I remember one time across at Paul Haggerty, and I'm near sure actually wrote, will somebody give me a hand or something like that. So, but no, he just looked so calm, composed, just a really, really good player. And you could tell just the way he was going on about himself, that he was a good player.
What was the centre backs like that day? Stubbsy, and I think, wasn't it Tommy Boyd was in the middle as well?
Stubbsy and Tommy Boyd, yeah. I enjoyed myself that day. Whether they were in pre-season mode, maybe. And took us lightly, but I enjoyed myself. That it was very hard, as I keep saying, because it was, and they were two big lads, especially Stubbs. You know what I mean? And he hit you, and you knew about it. But again, I thought I'd done okay against the two of them.
Between the minutes of 74 and 79, that's when the game's really decided. First, Derry go 2-1 up because Tommy Boyd turns in Pete's cross, and then 2 minutes later, Waghurst converts a Canio pass. Right. How did you feel when it just turned that quickly?
Well, I think the fact that we won it up and then they came back, you're going, right, are these boys going to start opening us up now? They didn't. They had a couple of chances, and then we got back in the lead fortunately through an own goal. Peter drilled one across, and I wasn't far away from that, and it went in. And he says, I'm claiming that. And I was kind of going, no, I was closer than you. So I was looking for me second. And then when they scored, you're kind of going, right, are they going to go now? And then, no, we went again. We found energy out of somewhere. We found a bit of quality out of somewhere, and with Ryan Coyle buried it in the bottom corner, then we managed to win 3-2.
He scores the winner, the hero we didn't know we needed. Just confirm something for me. Does he talk about it at every chance he gets at Ryan Coyle? No,
not with me. But I remember Ryan Semple, when we were coming back for something to eat after the game, Ryan Semple says to me, he stole your thunder, hasn't he? And I went, I don't know, probably has. Maybe when a winner against Celtic, he probably has. And then the paper came out the next day, and it read black and white, or coloured, a wee bit of colour. It was Irish Sun. Gaza's on the Raza, and it goes Gary Beckett upstage, just Golden Boy, Paolo de Canio. And as soon as I got that paper, I ran the Ryan sample and says, "You really think Coiler stole the show, do you?" And we just had a wee laugh about it, So it was nice just to see something like that. And I have it. I still have it here today. It's my wife got it framed.
Despite it being an air quote friendly, did you celebrate in the pitch?
I think we were too tired. I do think we realised what we'd done. I also think we realised that we had to play the next day against the likes of either Newcastle or PSV, and obviously it was Newcastle. And we got beat 2-0, but it was just so tough. We were so sore. We put an awful lot of effort into that Celtic game to win 3-2. It wasn't just like as you said, a so-called pre-season friendly. It was a tough game. Tough tackles, angry men losing their cool a wee bit, as I said. And the next day, we needed a day's rest, or maybe a 2 days rest, to go and try to compete with Newcastle. We did okay. Coiler had an unbelievable overhead kick, scored it in. He made the overhead kick out of it. But besides that, they beat us quite comfortably, and the players they had on show that day was just something else. The speed of them at times up and down. They had fullbacks who enjoyed going up and down. You know what I mean? At that pace, they liked it. Like it wasn't like, oh, I've got to go again. They were going again, and then at half time, Kit Spire comes on, and he was a flying machine as well. And it was a tough night for us. But I think in that tournament, we definitely done Derry proud for starters, and we done the league proud as well.
In the evening after you beat Celtic, there's a lot of rumour and innuendo that the TV companies got a bit upset that their preconceived notion of what the final game was going to be. They were trying to switch the final to be the first game and the Celtic game to be last. They sued for STV, and Sky wanted Newcastle obviously at the end. Were you aware of any arguments that was going on about TV scheduling for the final day?
Well, the older players might have been. As I say, I was only 22, 23. I didn't care. We beat Celtic 3-2. I scored the first and set the winner up. And we didn't know anything about that. Maybe some of the older players might have known, but it never came to my ears, no. And I didn't really care either. We deserved to be where we went that day. We didn't win 1-0. We won 3-2. It was a five goal thriller. Like,
have you any memories or funny stories about sitting in the hotel?
The camaraderie and the crack was good. Obviously, you couldn't go out and enjoy it because of what was coming next, or you weren't supposed to. I roomed with Tom. Tom doesn't drink, so we fell asleep probably about 9 o'clock that night. We were done, just, you know what I mean? I'm sure the older players had fun and realised what they'd achieved. As far as ourselves being so young, we had a game the next day and we had to get ready for it.
What was tougher, playing in that tournament or having to go and play the 2 games against Maribor a couple of weeks later?
That tournament was tougher because it was so close. And as I said already in the interview, the effort we had to put in to beat Celtic. We were running empty after 20 minutes. It was really so hard to get in the warm-up in the Newcastle game to try and get our muscles going and loosened up. Even then, we were struggling a bit. So I was anyway, and I was one of the younger players. So I can't imagine how Dykes and Kearney or Coiler, because it was a tough night against that Celtic team to win 3-2. And then to play the Newcastle game, it was really, really sore. So it was.
You end up playing against Celtic again at the Brandywell. Did you ever try and step up a bit of extra effort to try and repeat the trick?
Oh, yeah. Every time you put the jersey on, you got to win the game. Like, you know what I mean? You're trying to win the game. It would have been another coup. Imagine having beaten Celtic twice in your repertoire, so to speak. But he didn't bring over a full side that time, I think, because I could hear some of the Derry fans shouting, "Where's your team, O'Neill?" and stuff like that. But no, when you're playing teams like that, they're hard and sometimes not enjoyable because you don't see the ball. As soon as you give it away, you don't get it back for ages, and it's very hard to keep it off them as well.
Do you think that the Derry victory is the only thing that is remembered by the Irish football community, or even wider than that, for that particular tournament in the 2 years it took place in Lansdowne?
For the next year ourselves, you know what I mean? Yes. Outside of thingy, I don't think, would anybody know about it? Would Celtic know about it maybe a wee bit? I'm not too sure. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, we give Celtic a kick up the arse to go and stop Rangers the 10 in a row. So we played our part.